everybody, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to another movie related video, and today's video is going to be a ranking video, and I am going to be ranking the 6 Scream movies, okay, because the Scream franchise did a video about my favourite movie franchises, and the Scream one was on there. It's something that I hold near and dear to my heart. I love all the movies. I don't feel there's a single bad movie in that franchise, so I thought let's break it down a bit more and let's actually go through them all, and I will give you my ranking for which one is my favourite. So yeah, let's go. Okay, coming in at number 6, it is Scream 3. Scream 3 comes in last, mainly because of the characters. I didn't really care for any of the characters apart from our core group of people that we know and love, Dewey, Gail and Sydney. Just did not care for them at all. The only one I liked was Parker Posey, and I could actually watch the whole movie Parker Posey as that character. And yeah, she was the only one that really I had any sort of connection to, which doesn't help because a part of the fun of the Scream movies is that yes, you know they're going to die, but you grow attached to them, and when you grow attached to them, it just makes it a lot more heartbreaking, and it just makes it a lot more scary as a movie when you have stakes and you care about the people that are up against it. So that was a big knockoff for me. Another one was the lack of blood and lack of violence. Now, this, I believe, came out around the same time as Columbine, and it wasn't just this movie. There was thousands of movies that had to dole down their violence because of obviously what had just occurred, and this movie really falls. Like, it really does lack, when it lacks that violence, it just becomes a bit of a boring movie, I think, because when you don't really care for the story and you don't really care for the characters so much, you're like, okay, well, I'm excited to see the different kills in the movie. And when they were all very similar, because they all kind of cut away before you kind of got to the gritty of it all, then it kind of makes it a little bit of a boring movie. I mean, there are some parts of it that I do enjoy. You know, I love Scott Foley as a person, as an actor, so it's always nice to see him in it. Got to see kind of, I feel like, a nice conclusion to Sidney Prescott's arc. I thought that was very nice. You've obviously got Gail and Dewey. This is the movie where they come together. So yeah, all in all, it's not an awful movie. I still have fun with it. But yeah, it's just out of the bunch of them, this one is significantly worse than the others, I believe. Coming in at number 5, we have Scream 4. Now, this movie will probably come last in a lot of people's, but I have a soft spot for this movie, and the reason why is because this was my first movie I ever snuck into illegally at the cinema. This came out when I was about 13, 14, and this was a 15 over here. And yeah, I just wanted to see it. You know, so excited to finally have Scream back. You know, I was too young when the other ones were coming out. I mean, I was born on the year that the first Scream came out. So the fact that I was kind of like teenage age when this movie was coming, I was so excited. So yeah, I bought a ticket. Those were the days as well in the cinema where you would have a little screen outside of the screens to tell you what movie was showing. So it's very easy, get a ticket, and then just find it, and then off you go. So yeah, because of that was a soft moment in my heart. And I also feel like we got an incredible Ghostface killer in Jill Roberts, okay? We really, really did. And it's just, yeah, it's perfect. She's so good in it. Emma Roberts just steals the show as her, and just seeing her just go batshit crazy to the point where she is just throwing herself into coffee tables and just clawing at herself and just beating the shit out of herself. It's so fun to watch, and it's so good, and it's just really, really interesting to see kind of like how she plays it. So that's really cool. And also it was back to Woodsboro. Obviously the second and third one went away, so we were back into this place that I really just loved, and I wanted to kind of see it expand, and we did. We saw more places and more people. not amazing secondary characters. We had Hayden Panettiere as Kirby, and Emma Roberts as Jill, and those two were probably my favourite of the new. You got Judy Hicks as well. So those three were kind of like my favourite of the bunch. The others kind of went down a bit. I didn't really care for the two cop characters. Couldn't care less about the second Ghostface killer. So yeah, like, we got more better characters than I felt in the third one, but yeah, we still kind of didn't have as a fantastic core characters as we did in like the first two Scream movies. And also, it's got a horrific filter on it. It's like someone's rubbed Vaseline on it, and it's just watching it in like updated graphics in like 4K and Blu-ray, like, it really is quite difficult to watch now. I don't really know why they did it. I think it's kind of like product of the time. A lot of ones kind of were doing that, but yeah. But all in all, I have a good time with Scream 4. Coming in at number 4, I have Scream 5, or Scream. So this was the one that kicked it all back off again, and you know what? I had a great time with it. It was so violent, not as violent as Scream 6, but it was just kind of after having Scream 3 and then Scream 4, which was violent. There was violent moments in it, but it kind of felt a little bit cheap, some of the violence in that. Coming to this one, I was just like blown away by actually how visceral it was. It got like such a visceral reaction out of me and out of people that were watching it at cinema. You had the trio back. I will talk about the negative of that, but we had the trio back, which was awesome. We had a fantastic group of characters. I loved every character in this one. You obviously got your core four, but I also just loved like Zach Quaid. He's fantastic in it. I love him. You had Judy Hicks, she was back, and her son. I quite enjoyed the son. He was kind of a good red herring. And yeah, like, I just really had a good time with these characters. Mikey Madison, now Oscar winner. She was a Ghostface. We can finally say Ghostface won an Oscar, which is crazy to me. And yeah, I just really, really enjoyed it. The people that made it, Radio Silence, is one of my favourite horror movies ever made, in Ready or Not, and I have so much fun with their movies, and they kind of brought that in here. It was funny, it had humour, it was meta as well. It kind of went back to the beginning a little bit. And yeah, I had a great time with it. My main issue with it, though, is that we didn't get any Dewey Sydney. I felt like if we were going to have the three together in this movie, we should have had at least one scene of them all together, you know? We had Dewey, we had Gail together for a few scenes, which was really nice, and we obviously had Gail and Sydney, which was awesome towards the end as well. But I just felt like we really should have had small scenes with all of them together, or at least had a nice face-to-face scene with Dewey and Sydney, with, you know, all their history and the fact that Dewey died. It felt like a missed opportunity to have them all together. I'm guessing maybe it was a scheduling conflict, because I know they used this as a driving force to bring Sydney back to Woodsboro. But yeah, I just felt that it could have, we should have had at least one scene with them together. Coming in at number 3, we have Scream 6. Now, Scream 6 I felt was better than Scream, than the one before it. I always feel bad saying Scream, because I think people feel like I'm saying the original, but I'm not. I felt it was better because I felt like it just went off the rails. Like, they fully leaned into this chaos, and I loved it. They took it to New York, which kind of gave it this fast-paced running heartbeat through it, because New York is so fast-paced. It didn't feel like a sleepy town. It was super violent. It was interacting with different places in New York, and like different, the subway. They kind of utilised the subway really cool. Like the bodegas as well was really cool. It had some great chase sequences as well, which I love. I didn't care for the actual killers. I didn't really care for them, but I felt like the way that they went out kind of made me feel a bit better, I feel like if we had these killers and they kind of went out in a very lackluster way, I would have been a bit, that's a bit of a waste opportunity. But the fact that they just were absolutely just massacred, it just makes it a little bit better for me. And yeah, again, this had no Sidney Prescott, no Nev Campbell, but I felt the way that they brought back Hayden Panettiere was fantastic. Kirby Reed, I really enjoyed her character in this one. And also the way that they integrated Gel with like the newbies. They're not new, they've been around with the movie, with the movie before it, but it was really cool, you know, like I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I just felt like I really enjoyed the story of it. Again, didn't really care for the killers, but I felt the way that they went out was really cool. So yeah, so that's why that one is my number 3. Coming in at number 2, we have Scream 2. Scream 2, I feel, is such a great sequel because it picks up where it takes off, where the last one leaves off, and it puts them into a college where you get these new group of people, Timothy Olyphant, you know, Jerry O'Connor, Sarah Michelle Gellar. You get these people come in, and it feels like it still has that feeling of the first one, you know. Some people say it was like a carbon copy of the first one, but I think there's like enough changes to make it not so repetitive, but while still keeping that feeling. That feeling of the first one. I felt it was really important, and it could have been super easy for them to try and do something completely different, whereas this was just similar enough to carry on just like that joy that the first one brought. And yeah, again, I really enjoyed the characters. I really enjoyed the new set of characters as well. I really cared for every single one of them. You have your Dewey, you have Gail, Randy, R.I.P. Randy, he comes back, and it's just such a, like, you can tell that they just had such a ball making this one after the first one. You know, they got to know each other better, and it just felt a lot more seamless. And yeah, like, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm not too upset with the killers anyway. I do feel like they changed the killer. I believe they changed the killer in the script last minute. So you don't really see one of the killers that often in the movie, but it's Timothy Olyphant. He's great. He's crazy in it. And yeah, I just have a great time with Scream 2 because I feel like Scream 1 and Scream 2 are the perfect double feature. And I felt like if they had left it at that, like, I would be happy. I'm obviously very happy that we got the rest of them, but yeah, I feel like Scream 1 and 2 is a perfect double feature, and it's got such a great opening sequence as well. Coming in at number 1, that leaves us with Scream, the original Scream. And talking about fantastic opening sequences, this is probably one of the best opening sequences in a horror movie that will probably be, because it was such a big shock, and I watched this knowing that Drew Barrymore was the opening kill, whereas obviously everyone thought that she was going to be the main star because she was so famous when it came out. But even knowing that, it was still just like a masterclass in just tone. Like, the tone is so just uneasy, and your tension's ramping up, and you got the phone call and the noise of the phone when it rings, and she's screaming, and you got the fire of the popcorn, and you got everything going on. Like, it's such a great piece of artwork, just that first scene alone, and it really sets off the movie in a fantastic light. And Sydney Prescott is one of my favourite final girls ever. And yeah, she's such a badass character in this. It's so cool. I loved every single one of the characters. I just loved how seamless they fit the jokes in. It was funny, it was meta, it was to perfection for me. Scream is one of my favourite movies ever made, and it's just very hard to replicate. You can tell when people are trying to copy this movie. Yeah, you can't copy a movie that is as perfect as this one. So yeah, that is why it's my number 1 in the franchise. But there you go, that is my list, my ranking of all the Scream movies. Comment down below, let me know whether you agree with my rankings or if you have your own favourites, and also let me know if there are any more franchises and stuff you want to see me rank, and I will do that for you. Make sure as well that you follow me on the social medias for all things movie collecting and everything like that, and also give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. It helps out the channel, and yeah, it just makes me happy. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you at the next video very soon. Ciao ciao.